folks, it's Chris Gordon back with you for yet another installment of the way I like to work with Jimy Bruno's Five Fingerings. Again, there's a link in the description to his videos, his channel actually. I would just subscribe to the channel. He talks about the Five Fingerings at length, plus many other things. But as I said in my previous videos on this topic, this is kind of the journey I go through with this material. Today, I wanted to share with you how I learn melodies using these fingerings, and the benefit of these fingerings in terms of really learning your fretboard, learning your keys, and the great benefit of understanding how melodies work, how they, the great melodies that always sound great. The melody I'm using is Over the Rainbow, and I transcribed the vocal melody from Judy Garland's amazing performance in the movie Wizard of Oz, and I fleshed it out in the octave range that she sang this in, which is in the key of A flat. So what I did was I listened to the melody and figured it out in that key, and so I'm not going to be doing this amazing reproduction of her performance on the guitar, even though that would be a really good thing to work on. That would be a great goal, and I may do that, especially with the slide. But for today, this is more of an academic approach to, if you're working on learning your notes, learning your fretboard, or if you are working on these five fingerings, this is an extremely beneficial way to do it. And I'm going to walk you through it on a couple of different levels today, and I'm only going to be taking the first half of the melody. I'm not going to be talking about the B section. That's for another time. So the first thing I'm going to do is play the melody for you, and in what Jimy would consider or look at as fingering 7. It's called that simply because the fingering begins on the 7th degree of A flat, which is G. Just so you see this, here's the fingering. Okay. And to echo a little bit of what Jimy had said, it's not being thought of, at least I'm not really thinking of this as a scale. I'm looking at this as the notes that I have available to me in this fingering from the key of A flat. Because remember, I'm thinking melodically. I'm not thinking in a scale-like fashion. So the notes G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, and A flat. Now, there's an added importance to not only knowing those notes, but in this key, knowing what they are intervallically, or their relationship. So G is the 7, A flat is the 1, B flat is the 2, and you could also see the 2 is the 9. Let's just keep it simple. We have 7, 1, 2, the C is the 3rd, D flat is the 4th, E flat is the 5th, F is the 6th, G is our 7th again, and then it just repeats in octaves. But then we're going to keep the numbers 1 through 7, or in this case starting on 7. So if you're still getting familiar with these fingerings, maybe warm up. So here's the melody in this fingering. Okay, clinical, I know. I'm playing it very straight and very clinical. But what it's doing is it's helping me lay out that fingering and finding these notes. Here's why. I'm going to call them out by note name first, and then the interval. A flat again, G, E flat, F, G, A flat yet again, different octave. Then F to E flat. F, D flat, C, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, B flat, G, A flat, B flat, C, A flat. Now, intervallically, and the great thing about this melody is it uses every note in the key. All 7 notes get some time in the spotlight. We have one octave, 7, then the E flat is the 5th, 5, 6, 7, root again, octave lower, 6, 5, 6 an octave lower, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. And I know I'm driving that point probably overkill, but the reason for that is when you move it to other keys, that's going to be really helpful for you to see the architecture of it. Okay. But you should know, you want to know what those notes are in the other keys, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But so now we have established what that melody is in this fingering. Now, the reason I didn't start here, and I'm going to address that later, is because there would have been an open string, and I'm purposely avoiding open strings at the moment because it helps you oversee transposition better when there aren't open strings. But would use them. I mean, obviously, this is more of a personal choice rather than a academic reason. So if I move up to the next fingering, which would be fingering 2, again, refer to Jimy's videos to learn these fingerings, without a doubt, very important. So when I move to fingering 2, looks like this. Okay. Same notes, I'm just starting on a different degree, and that's why it's called fingering 2, because the fingering begins on the 2nd degree of A flat, which in this case is B flat. So now the game is to play the same exact melody in that fingering. So there I figured out the same exact melody, same exact notes, same exact intervals, but at a fingering 2. So this is going to enable me to be able to play in a lot of other ways, or be able to embellish this melody or add my own flair to it later on, because I can connect them throughout the fretboard, so the fretboard becomes just one topic. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing at a fingering 3. Called fingering 3 because it begins on C, which is the 3rd degree of A flat. Okay, so there it is, just getting my real estate together here. Okay, so here we go. Another great advantage to getting all the fingerings mastered is that it may fall more comfortable. It may fall more expressively in a particular fingering than it would in another one. So again, it's nothing but beneficial to learn these fingerings and to learn the notes and the keys and all that good stuff. And I have been asked about, well, what happened to fingering 4? What happened to fingering 1? Well, 1 is in constant 7 and 4 is in constant 3. They exist together, so that's why. Anyway, here we are, fingering 5, beginning on the 5th degree E flat. That's my fingering. Here's the note. So now that brings us to fingering 6, which I want to address in 2 ways. Fingering 6 begins on F, which is the 6th degree of A flat. And here's the melody. Now, the other benefit to this particular fingering that I enjoy is that I can play it up an octave. Okay. And you could do that in other positions too, even though you'll probably move around a little more. Which brings me right back to, if I move that down here to fingering 6 off of the 1st fret, this. There's that open G, open string, right? So there's the concept behind using the Jimy Bruno 5 fingerings, using an iconic melody in its original key, which A flat is a beautiful key, and really getting that down, not only the notes, the fingerings themselves, but also the intervallic structure that hopefully can inspire your own melodic development. The other benefit, of course, at this point is to move them to other keys, right? And if you have the fingerings down, the shapes, the patterns will remain the same, which makes it a lot easier to transpose on the guitar than some people think. You could just, here's C. Right? So mastering these fingerings will enable you to play in all 12 keys. Obviously, you want to put the time in to do that, and maybe that would be a great warm-up, is to cycle the first melody of Over the Rainbow in all 12 keys. So, all right, there you have it for today. I'll be back with more developments, and the second half of the melody would be fun to address as well. And also we'll talk about how to take melodies and put your own stamp on them, you know. All right, guys. Hope everyone's having a good one. Cheers. Like I said, subscribe to Jimy Bruno's online school. You won't regret it. There's so much stuff there to learn. Talk to you all soon.